Chapter 1. The Felen Family. Dusky orange light glinting through the window signified the end of Wolflock. No one could drag him to his impending destruction. There was nothing that could make him go. Surely he'd be protected by the layers of blanket and curtain from his four-poster bed. "But you're half-dressed. Just put on some shoes and we can go. Dinia is waiting," whined a young girl's disembodied voice. Wolflock pulled the thick, downy blanket tighter around his head to block out the noise. "She's going to tag along with whatever you do. You don't need my presence." "I can't hear you through your blanket, brother mine. You just sound like ruff, 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 ruff." The girl sang back to him before kicking her heels arrhythmically on something wooden. "She's sitting on the dresser. If she kicks any harder on the bottom shelf, she's going to find my—" She stopped kicking as they both heard a loud clinking noise. "Wolflock, what have you been up to?" She giggled with malicious glee. "Mina, don't!" Wolflock threw off the blankets and tumbled out of his enormous bed as she yanked open his bottom dresser drawer. Except for his bedside table, his dresser was the closest item of furniture to his bed, but it was still a good 6 feet away. Mina's pudgy little hands had already dug it out. "Wolflock? Really? What is this?" She rolled her eyes as she pocketed his vial. "It's none of your business, is what it is." Wolflock stormed across the room and tried to snatch the glass vial from her. "It's as if you're planning on ruining Samhain again." She dodged his grasp and ran to the door leading out to the hallway. "What were you hoping to do anyway? Make a truth serum?" She slammed his door shut before he could reach her. He jiggled the door handle, but she held it tight. "Why would I need a truth serum? They're all horrible liars. Mina, give it back." "Get dressed, and I'll give it back. It looks like a truth serum. A bit too blue, though. Who did you get to enchant it?" Wolflock couldn't budge the door, so he punched it and leaned back on it as he slumped to the floor, shaking out the sting on his knuckles before he spoke. "It isn't meant to be a truth serum, and no one has enchanted it." "Did you try?" "Of course I didn't." "Good. It would be fruitless. You can't use magic. You're much too logical anyway." "So knowing it's not enchanted, will he give it back?" What's it meant to do?" Wolflock huffed and fidgeted with his uncuffed sleeves. "It's a prototype. I was seeing if I could create an ingested illusion, making it seem as if I was still at the ball even if I wasn't." Mina fell silent on the other side of the door, and for a moment Wolflock thought she had left, having grown bored of the conversation. He opened the door just as his little sister aimed a kick at it, catching his shin instead. "Ouch!" She gasped, then scoffed. "Why did you move? I wouldn't have gotten you if you hadn't moved." "You wouldn't have kicked me, but you would have hit my back with the vibrations from the door." He gripped his shin until the sharp pain melted into a throb. "I wouldn't have hit your back. I would have just pressed it firmly." Wolflock checked for any blood as he scowled at Mina's antics. Satisfied he was unscathed, he snatched the little bottle back off her and pocketed it. As he retreated towards his bed, he heard his little sister take a quick step to stop him, but as she didn't catch his hand, he realized she was up to something else. With a dramatic turn, he flopped back onto his bed, glimpsing Mina leaning up against his doorframe with a pensive expression. It couldn't mask the excitement in her acid green eyes, though. Wolflock's curiosity began to itch in her direction. Nothing could make him go. Of this, he was resolute. But what would his persistent sibling try next? "Fine." He continued to look at the swirling moulding on the ceiling, knowing it would annoy her more if he didn't respond. He was right. She cleared her throat. "Fine." Wolflock smirked as he pretended to not hear her again. "I guess I'll have to try and see what's happening with Miss Thorne's driver myself." "Who?" He sat up on his elbows and looked at her. "Oh, you didn't know? Miss Thorne has a new driver. After a bunch of jewelry went missing, he was sent to the guard tower, But she went and fetched him out with a clean record. Strange behaviour for a girl who is meant to be marrying the mayor's son. Wolflock swung his legs over the bed and pulled on his socks and shoes. When was he employed? Mina's face twitched as she tried to hide a smirk. 2 moons ago, midway through Stulung Luna. And when was he put in custody? Just after Mabon. It was said he stole the jewellery while everyone was celebrating. Whose jewellery did he steal? Well, that's the funny thing, isn't it? Wolflock waited, but Mina just grinned at him with a wicked glint in her eye. After a moment he sighed, conceding that she had won as he put on his silver bicut dodecahedron cufflinks and black suit jacket. Those ones? Again? Mina waddled over to his dresser and dug out his cufflink case. I like these ones. The mathematics of geometry is relaxing. He slumped as Mina replaced one of his silver ones with a sapphire set. I got these for you for Yule, and I'm yet to see you wear them. It would annoy you to no end if I went out with one sapphire one and my geometric one. He let her finish dressing him as she saw fit, knowing while she focused on making him presentable she would answer his questions. So whose jewels were stolen? Miss Thorne's jewels. She would have hated that, Wolflock thought as smug satisfaction bubbled in him. She values her trinkets more than people. Who reported the theft? One of Miss Thorne's friends, Miss Gershwin. The one with the pug face who shines her hair with fish oil. Apparently it's meant to improve mental acuity, Mina replied in her usual manner of agreeing without causing offence. As Mina spoke, a long deep groan trembled through the room. Both siblings froze as it occurred, and looked about hunting for the source, but it came from all around. See? Even the house thinks Miss Gershwin is a boring subject. It's yawning. Wolflock snorted, breaking the eerie silence. No, it's yawning because it thought it could get a good night's sleep, and we're leaving after it's bedtime. Regardless, the pug-faced, fish-oiled one is indeed Miss Gershwin. I thought she and Miss Thorne had a falling out over her engagement to the mayor's son. You are most certainly correct. There was a rather public clash when Miss Gershwin toppled the maypole at Beltane when she found out. They've since become acquaintances again. Wolflock made a face as Mina tugged a comb through his pitch-black hair. Knowing Miss Thorne, she likely believes she can get something out of Miss Gershwin. What does the driver have to do with it, though? Is Miss Thorne using him to spy on other ladies? Or is he a thief of his own accord? And if so, why would she pay such kindness to a man she could easily replace? If she is using him as a spy, that would explain why she rescued him after he allegedly stole her property. It would also give her entire family the means of spying on the other courtiers in Plug. There, dashing. Let's collect father, and we'll be on our way, Mina chimed in, breaking Wolflock from his thoughts. She linked her arm through his and led him down the hallway to their father's study, dodging the staff carrying decorations down the hall. It was normal for Mina to drag both Wolflock and their father around when she had a goal. She often forgot they were still attached if she became entranced by her objectives, a trait that, admittedly, ran in the family. Darkness and stagnation met them as they approached his office. The heavy, faded red curtains were perpetually drawn in their father's wing, and very few of the staff were permitted in his quarters. It was no mystery to anyone what he was trying to hide or why he guarded his secrets so possessively. With children like Mina and Wolflock, nothing stayed private for long. Before Mina could raise her right hand to knock on the dark oak door, the house around them groaned and sighed again. Both siblings froze, and Mina gripped Wolflock's arm with both hands. You do it. He's not that frightening. Wolflock rolled his eyes. The house said you should be the one to do it. It's just yawning again. It's hardly an omen. Don't you hear it at night? I swear it's ghosts or something. Wolflock made a face and rapped his knuckles on the door. You know better than to talk about ghosts around father. He's already prone to bouts of melancholy around Felen. They waited a few moments before the sound of a heavy chair moving across the old carpet emanated from the other side of the door. They pressed their ears to the wood and heard drawers shut, locks clicked, and papers shuffled. The pair of them mouthed a silent argument about what he was doing. Wolflock mimed his father putting away contracts behind his safe hidden behind the painting of their great-grandparents, while Mina mimicked the motions of stacking a bag in a secret compartment in his desk drawers. The door opened away from their ears, and they both jumped back, staring up at the towering figure that was their father. Falcon Felen stood broad and tall with ebony hair, streaked with silver, and the same acid-green eyes as his daughter. The three of them bore a chilling stare even when they didn't mean to, but in this moment Mr. Felen Sr. definitely intended to fix it on them. "Is it time?" thrummed his baritone voice. No matter how much he smoked his pipe, the history of music could not be forgotten in his vocal prowess. "Yes, father. I believe Grutter is waiting for us at the carriage. If my calculations are correct, she will remember she has forgotten my clutch and retrieve it by the time we make it down." Mina tapped her chin as she thought. Wolflock rolled his eyes. He should have known Mina would have orchestrated some manipulation with precision when she hadn't tussled with him. She resorted to physical manipulation only when she was out of ideas. He should have waited longer, and he may not have been made to go. At least now he'd be able to dig up more dirt on Erica Thorne, and find out what power she had over her driver. More importantly, he'd be able to uncover what she was plotting next. The challenge would make the evening less of a waste. Something not quite tucked into his father's trouser pocket caught his eye. A silk cloth shimmered in the dwindling lantern light. A lady's handkerchief? Or a small shawl? Wolflock glimpsed past his father and saw his enormous dark oak desk. As he expected, the picture of his smiling mother framed in intricate gold glinted back at him, his face scrunched with uncomfortable feelings. Every Samhain, his father brought that same picture out, as if she would magically materialize in front of it.